Hey everyone, it's Mary Ann Pizzatola from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. This week, I was advised that there was a retiree meeting at the Broward County 1013 in which one of the sales managers or account managers from Aetna, Sabrina de Guzman Simmons, was in attendance. And there were a lot of questions. Most of her information, I'm told, seemed accurate, but there are some clarifications that do need to be made. And of course, there's omissions. And why do we concentrate on omissions? Because salespeople sell you a plan to benefit themselves. They get a commission every time one of the Aetna reps fills out a contract with you. They're trying to get you off of your traditional Medicare because it serves them. They're telling you all the perks of the plan, but they're not telling you the downsides, and that's disingenuous. So let's get into that. One of the questions that we were given was, how does Aetna get paid? So this is how Aetna gets paid. Aetna is a privatized Medicare. Medicare actually pays them to administer your healthcare benefits so they don't have to. How does that work? Well, Medicare says, hey, Aetna, if you administer this healthcare plan, we'll pay you to do that. And they'll pay them over $1,000 a month to administer your health benefits, just so they don't have to. Removes them from the responsibility. Now, what do they do to make more money? They'll call you. Hey, Marianne, is it at all possible that we could get together and come over and do a healthy home visit? Then they come to your house, and all of a sudden, they want to tell you about how wonderful things are, and that they need to speak to you about your health benefits and your history. And all of a sudden, you're comfortable with them and you're telling them your whole life history. And they walk out your door and they're hearing the sounds of a cash register. Because for all the things that you just told them, they're going to go back to Medicare and go, "Poof, that Marianne, she's a higher risk than we thought. Medicare, you're going to have to give us more money. We can't manage her health care with the risk of her history. You're going to have to pay us more." And then they say she has a history of this and she has a history of that, whether or not I'm experiencing those things now or not. And that's how it's called upcoding. And that's how Medicare ends up paying them more. They also do this thing where they go through your medical records. It's called data mining. And they determine that you are a higher risk based upon what they find in your records. United Healthcare, Humana, Cigna, Aetna, all been guilty of that. And DOJ has been looking into that and asking them back for millions of dollars because of this upcoding or data mining. So that's how Aetna gets paid, okay? But here are some problems. One of the things that she said was, your doctor's responsible for prior authorizations. You shouldn't worry about those. Your doctor does them. Well, you still need to worry about them. One, because doctors don't like doing prior authorizations. They have to actually ask your insurance company for permission if they want to do a test or procedure. Aetna determines whether or not that will happen. Then if they deny it, your doctor has to appeal it because your doctor doesn't want to be sued that there was a problem or he didn't treat you the way that you needed to be treated. And they know that you need this care, but Aetna is now the gatekeeper. So they have to have full-time staff to do these prior authorizations. Aetna says, oh, we didn't get it. They send it again. No, we still didn't get it. They send it again. You need to start following doctors' offices on social media, because you will see what they have to go through in this process, not just for medical care, but also for drug approvals. When they have to go through prior authorizations, like we follow an organization in the Midwest that is constantly coming to social media to get their medications for their patients approved, because Aetna, Cigna, Anthem, Blue Cross, all these companies don't want to pay for the drugs for their patients. And many of them are on forced Medicare Advantage plans like Citi was trying to push us on. So that's a Medicare Advantage issue. But here's the question that was specifically flagged to us. Sabrina said that if your doctor's out of network, the doctor doesn't have to do the prior authorization. And she's correct. But you are responsible for doing the pre-visit confirmation. And I want to show you this because this is serious. And if you don't do this, and her statement to the retiree that asked the questions were that even if you didn't do the pre-visit confirmation, she guaranteed that Aetna would pay you back. That's not true either. And you need to know this. This is serious, and it has a lot of ramifications if you don't. So let's look at this document. This is the actual contract, the Aetna final contract as registered by the comptroller. Now, what you are seeing is how to get care from out-of-network providers. Now, this specifically says, look at our highlighted points. You don't need to get a referral or prior authorization when you get care from out-of-network providers. However, before getting services from out-of-network providers, you may want to ask for a pre-visit coverage decision to confirm the services that you are getting are covered and are medically necessary. And then it reverts you back to another chapter section. And this is why Aetna makes the determination over what is medically necessary. They could determine that it's not, and they do. Even if traditional Medicare would have covered it, Aetna can deny it. And then this is where the 5 level of appeals comes in. And this is why, check this out. It says, without a pre-visit coverage decision, if we later determine that the services are not covered or were not medically necessary, that's again their determination, we may deny coverage and you will be responsible for the entire cost. If we say we will not cover your services, you have the right to appeal our decision, and then they direct you to where you can go ahead and challenge that appeal. Challenge that decision on appeal. And there's 5 levels, and they don't happen quick. When you need care now, not in 7, 10, 14, 28, 72 days. This is not how this is supposed to work. And it doesn't work under traditional Medicare that way. Okay. So that's important for you to know exactly how that works. Out-of-network doctors, Aetna likes to say that they are a nationwide plan. Well, they probably have doctors in most states, not all states. And again, if you go back and look at their contract, you will see that they don't have doctors in every county of every state. And we know this for a fact. When we had an expert put an affidavit in our litigation, it was determined that they did not have a broad network. In fact, their network was narrow. We have retirees that are in Washington State, Oregon, Minnesota, Hawaii that are telling us that they don't have doctors with even in 100 miles of them. We have doctors in hospitals throughout Florida, throughout New York that won't take this Medicare Advantage plan. They won't, many of them, take any Medicare Advantage plan. Here's some other problems Sabrina didn't tell you. Continuing care residential communities. It's a popular living situation for many, usually single seniors. They go in as independent or assisted living, and they can transition to memory or nursing care. They don't take managed care either. They don't take HMOs, and they don't take Medicare Advantage plans. That's another issue, especially because if we have many retirees that are currently in these living situations. And here's an even bigger one. If we win our litigation and you choose to be in a Medicare Advantage plan and we win, you're stuck in that plan until next year, open enrollment, unless you choose to use your once-in-a-lifetime change, which we don't encourage given the climate of what labor relations has been doing to us for the last 3 years. The other thing is, if we lose in court, you are now stuck in a Medicare Advantage plan. You are stuck in the Aetna Medicare Advantage plan. And here's the deal. If the city eliminates all of the healthcare plans except for Aetna Medicare Advantage, for you Florida and for you New York retirees that you are currently on an Aetna plan, that plan goes away. It will not be the same plan. Right now, the Aetna plan that you are on, the Florida plan doesn't have copays. The New York plan does. However, the plan that they're going to institute in this contract that I'm just showing you, everyone has copays. And it's a different contract than what you're currently on. It's not the same plan. You will be moved to that plan. Now, if the city eliminates all plans and forces you onto Medicare Advantage. And you are now forced to make a decision that you're going to stay on your Aetna plan, or let's say you like it. And yet at some point that Aetna plan doesn't work for you because you are currently in a Medicare Advantage plan and you live in Florida. Let's say you're not in one of the 4 states that has a guarantee issue right. That means if for some reason you're diagnosed with cancer or a cardiac condition, or you need a transplant, and your doctor and hospital don't accept the Aetna Medicare Advantage plan, and you have to use that doctor, or you want to use that doctor, you have to be on traditional Medicare. So now you say, oh, sorry, Aetna, see you later, Sabrina. I'm going back to traditional Medicare. Well, guess what? Now you have a health condition and you have a long medical history. You are now subject to underwriting. You can get back on traditional Medicare, but will you get a supplement? And if you do, what are you going to pay for it? I'm going to tell you the senior care plan that you are currently on, the city pays about $200 a month for us. We have retirees that when this litigation started that live in the state of Florida, were told that their supplemental plan, basically the same plan that we have today, would cost them $800 a month. You have a spouse, $1,600. Because you're not in Maine, Massachusetts, New York, or Connecticut. Those are the only 4 states with a guarantee issue right with no underwriting. So understand something. You might like that plan that Sabrina's selling you with the $200 gift card and the silver sneakers and the meals delivered to your house. Those are perks. You don't buy homeowners insurance or car insurance for a perk. You buy it for the coverage. So why would you purchase make an agreement for your healthcare insurance that gives you a perk? You have to recognize that there's a trade-off. And the trade-off is you lose your control and your doctor loses the control over your care, your network, and your access. If that is anything in this video that you take away that. Just know that that $200 gift card and your silver sneakers and your Fitbit and all that garbage is only good for as long as you're healthy. The minute that you actually need your plan to pull the weight of everything else, you're going to have a problem. And we're seeing that right now in the transit case because they were forced onto Aetna Medicare Advantage by New York City Transit. And as a final note, we're currently in litigation, and this is against this Aetna plan. Aetna doesn't want to give more fuel to our litigation about them denying you care over the allegations. But their attorney did admit to our judge that there would be situations, and this is in the decision. The judge wrote, even the Aetna lawyer said that there would be situations in which retirees would not have access to doctors and hospitals and access to treatment that was prescribed for them. Please listen. Open enrollment is around the corner. We are urging you to not be on a Medicare Advantage plan and not be on this Aetna plan. Stick with traditional Medicare. Hope that we come through this level of appeal with no issue. If we lose, you'll be in the Medicare Advantage plan anyway, and at least that you could then make that transition into a supplement on the outside from traditional Medicare. Going from a Medicare Advantage plan, you're going to have a problem. I'm urging you to listen. Sabrina didn't tell you the whole truth. We will, and we always will. Have a great day, everyone.